everybody. Welcome back to the Krush House. I'm Frank Nicotero, joined by my co-host and partner in crime, former NFL star and NFL analyst, Sean Salisbury. Sean, how about them Suns, huh?
Dismantled. You think Booker's any good? This is going to be fun to watch. Lakers, LeBron gets to watch for once, and then he can go tweet and do all the fun stuff. There you go.
Now we're going to talk about the dishes that they ate last night because, Sean, we want to tease that, and we'll talk about it later in your connection with the Suns. But speaking of superstars in the NBA, let's talk about the man who's joining us again for the NBA playoffs, the one and only baddest of the bad boys, Rick Mahorn. Rick, what's going on?
What's going on, Frank? What's going on, Sean? I'm bringing my...
Wait a second. What's this? What's this?
Oh, no. Not that one. But look, I got this. You don't have this one yet. The bottle.
I don't have that. I need that, but this one's signed.
Oh, that one. Oh, don't worry. Hold on. I got my pen out right now. Here we go. You got it?
There we go. Put another signature on there. All right. And joining us, we were talking about dishes with Sean Salisbury. You want to talk about dishes? This guy led the NCAA in assists when he was at Oklahoma State in his sophomore season. I'm a big fan of this guy. Follow him on Twitter. You know him from the Doug Gottlieb show. It's Doug Gottlieb.
What's up? I was laughing last night, knowing I was going to do this with Rick, and Jay Crowder got thrown out for salsa dancing. Imagine how broke Rick would be if he played in this era. Right? I mean, literally would be on like half of Los Angeles on the street corner, okay, homeless due to all the fines he would be paying for every game the way he played.
Well, and speaking of the game last night, we're all talking about the Suns and the Lakers. The Lakers are bounced. Rick, were they tired? The injuries a key? What did you think of the Lakers? I mean, just too many games from over the last 3 seasons in the playoffs for LeBron. What is it?
Well, I think it was a lot of different things other than being hurt. Also, not a lot of rest. The travel comes into play. Everything comes into play when it comes to the playoffs. Last year was totally different. Everybody was dealing with just being in one place, the bubble. But this time they had to go travel, and now the crowds are starting to get into it. This was great basketball for the NBA. I thought it was the Suns that played well. It's always about the other guys that like Jay Crowder, for instance. Don't get me wrong, Doug. You got to have Jay Crowder on your team. You got to have a guy that's going to, match LeBron's intensity and use that big body, that barrel chest. But, the Lakers looked real tired. The other guys did not show up. But, hey, this is what the NBA is all about. Now we got both finalists from last year not even competing to get a championship on either side. So we get a new champion.
Hey, Doug, great to be with you, man. It's good to see you, my man. It's been too long, brother.
You guys don't know this, that Sean and I, we used to do a 6-hour radio show together at night. And Sean holds the record at that place for fastest disembowelment of a bucket of chicken. It's really remarkable. But when you're working literally all day, right? You're doing a radio show and then Sports Center and then a 6-hour show. And like, hey, we got like 15, 30 minutes and you send somebody out to get a bucket of chicken. Salisbury takes care of business. When Salisbury's hungry, Salisbury's hungry.
The bones were left out when we were done because there wasn't 1 ounce of meat on it. Well, it's good to be with you, Doug. I miss you, my man, and got a great group. I want to talk about this series with the Suns and the Lakers as well.
Okay.
If Anthony Davis is healthy, are the Suns still the better team?
No.
Why?
It's just a bad matchup for the Suns. I mean, that's really the Lakers were searching for a center all year long, right? I mean, it's the reason that they went after Marc Gasol. They thought he could be a stretch 5 and protect the rim. He's just over the hill. He's just washed. And then they went out and got Andre Drummond late because he can defend some and rebound and give them a 5, allow Anthony Davis to play the 4. They're just, when you have both AD and LeBron, Phoenix doesn't really have a good matchup for both, right? They just look at their wings and say, okay, we got Jay Crowder, but what else? And then you have DeAndre Ayton for Anthony Davis, okay? So it's a completely different series. And so, look, I'm all for championing what has been done in Phoenix and the change with Chris Paul. Let's also point out that Chris Paul wasn't healthy early in the series. And somehow he made a miraculous recovery, and then the Lakers all of a sudden looked beat up.
When I do look at it, Doug, when you look at it, it's all about the others. I always talk about our championship guys like Vinnie Johnson, myself, guys that are not noted for. But what was really the piece that the Lakers were missing? Don't get me wrong. Full strength with LeBron and also Anthony Davis, that's all good. But you got to have guys. What guys for the Lakers when they brought in these pieces thought that this was going to help? What players did they miss from last year to this year?
Well, I mean, obviously Rondo was a big one, right? And they needed a point guard. They needed leadership. And as good as Caruso is, he's a bench guy. He's not a starter. Right? It's all about, and it's like I don't know how good Vinnie Johnson would have been as a starter, but the microwave, come off and get buckets. It completely changed who you were, right? Changed the game incredibly. Caruso's not Vinnie Johnson. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying that in his role of what he did, he completely changed the tenor of the game because he's an outstanding defender. He's a tremendous athlete, finisher, cutter, ego-free, could play opposite LeBron. But you can't play Caruso 35 minutes. Like, look, the Clippers got the same problem. Patrick Beverley's not a starter. Patrick Beverley off the bench, he's all right. Patrick Beverley's your starting one, you're not winning a championship. And they realized that mid-series.
All right, so we're going to move on from the Phoenix and the Lakers. We're not even going to shake hands like LeBron, which we can, whatever, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, fuck that handshaking. We're competing here, okay?
All right, well, let's talk about now, Doug. Like I said, I believe you thought that on June 28th when they announced the MVP, you think Jokic is going to win it. I mean, the guy in the second half last night was amazing. They doubled their output. Denver outscored him in the fourth 28-14. He looks like the best player left. I don't know. They have the Suns now. What do you think of this matchup, Denver and the Suns?
I mean, obviously, you wish you saw Jamal Murray. I mean, of the things that we learned in the bubble last year, Jamal Murray was probably the best player there. Like, he was unbelievable. And their ability to do it without him is spectacular. Jokic is, Rick, help me out. When Sabonis, people forget when Sabonis came over, okay, Arvydas Sabonis. People remember him as this kind of plodding, big, great passer, okay? But people forget he tore his Achilles tendon in Russia. He didn't come over till he was 30. But Jokic is a less athletic version of prime Arvydas Sabonis in that in order to be a superstar, you got to be able to do three things, right? You got to play, you got to be able to score, you got to be able to create, make others better, and you got to be able to defend. And he does all three. And what's limited in his past at times is conditioning. He just gets fucking tired, right? And you're playing in Denver, you're playing in altitude, it's not easy. But he seems to have navigated that better. I think it's a great matchup for Jokic because Ayton is not nearly as comfortable away from the basket. He's just not. And, they basically play through Jokic as their point center.
And Rick, what do you think of a guy like Jokic? How would you defend this guy? I mean, he comes at you. What are you doing?
Well, I played against a whole bunch of centers. When you look at it from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Moses Malone to Hakeem Olajuwon to Shaquille O'Neal, this guy Joker is, in this today's NBA. I love the way that he's dominating and being that first center in a while to win that MVP. But here's the thing, Doug. When I look at it, some guys can go nuclear. The only time they can go nuclear, like a Joker, for Joker, Morris had to get going. Other than Michael Porter Jr., but on the Phoenix Suns, a guy like when I look at it, it's a guy like Jay Crowder. It's all about the other guys because the other guys are going to keep you scoring. But Joker is a guy that can he facilitates a lot. But he was struggling earlier in that game last night before they finally got a rhythm with Morris. How important is it for Phoenix, other guys, that's going to try to help them win that game and try to get home court advantage?
We all assume because the big three that the super team in Brooklyn's the best team, right? The team to beat, whether we all think the matchups are going to work. So, Doug, I'll start with you. If not Brooklyn, who do you trust the most with all the teams left in the NBA to be hoisting the trophy?
This is going to sound crazy. The Clippers.
Oh, come on, Doug.
I mean, tell me somebody else who's done it, Rick.
Well, why, Doug?
I mean, you asked who I trust. Okay, so is it? Well, let me go through the options. Can I go through the options? All right. you got the Bucks, who've never won shit, okay? And as talented as Giannis is, he can't make a free throw and he can't shoot threes. Okay, and they don't have DiVincenzo, who's one of those other guys, Rick, that you talk about, who gives them versatility, athleticism, and shot making. So the Bucks, but look, the Bucks are an option. Okay, then you got the 76ers. Stop me if you heard of this before, but Joel Embiid's hurt, right? So then they got Ben Simmons, who can't shoot. Can he take over a game? Not a great playoff player. So that's option 2. I love Doc. I like that team. I like what they built. Also remember, like Seth Curry is a great shooter, but what he gives you on offense, it's almost zero sum to what he gives you on defense. All right, so that's option 2. You have Denver that doesn't have Jamal Murray, and they outside of Jokic, they don't really defend, and they've never won shit. You have the Dallas Mavericks that play zero defense, but they do have. He's probably the best player still remaining, to be honest with you. Like that kid is ridiculous. Okay, so there's the option. I mentioned Denver. We talked about Phoenix. I love Chris Paul. He never won shit. Okay, so what are my choices?
One word you didn't say in that whole thing was you didn't mention Utah at all, did you?
I have nothing wrong against Utah, but again, haven't won shit, haven't done shit.
Give me one word. They want to hear one word. Who you think's going to win the NBA title? Go, Sean. Go first. Go ahead.
Well, me go first. I was with Doug. I picked the Clippers at the beginning, but I'm going with the team that beat the Lakers. I'm going to say the Suns. My son works for him as a chef. Why not go? I'm going to ride the hot team. So fuck off, Rick. And you. Well, I'm going to say that because we got a computer in between us. I'm not saying that in real. I love you, my man. But I'm taking the Suns.
You're hard-headed. One word.
Oh, Suns. There you go.
Doug, one word.
The Nets.
That was 2 words, but all right, we'll go with the Nets. All right, Rick, one word. What's your one word?
Jazz.
Jazz. All right, he's going with the Jazz. All right.
Well, what are you doing, Frank? Go ahead.
You know what? I for some reason
One word, Frank.
Nets.
Say it with your chest.
Just real quick, let me just do one more thing with one player. If you had one player, Game 7, 5 seconds left on the clock, who are you taking for that one shot? Are you taking Trey?
Can I say his full name?
What's that?
Do we get to say his full name or
you
one
can
word?
say full name, but right now, I'm talking right now. Is it Luka? Is it Trae Young? Is it Devin Booker? Is it Harden? Who's the one player, one shot, 5 seconds to go, Game 7?
Does anybody in the NBA or only currently playing?
Only currently playing in the playoffs.
Oh, I'll take for my money. I'll take Luka.
Luka, Doug, what do you think?
Kevin Durant.
I'm going with Booker. I'm thinking he's on this tear right now.
I might go Trae Young right now because that guy looks unbelievable too.
Whoa, I forgot Trae Young. Yeah.
All right, we heard these guys' NBA picks for the finals. Now, if you're looking to gamble on who's going to win the NBA championship and you're new to gambling, that's why we're here to help, all right? We have Baywatch's own beauty, Angelica Bridges, here to break down some of the terminology and let you know about what to do with betting on basketball.
Hi, all. If you're thinking of betting basketball, the good news is that there aren't a lot of terms to learn. The 3 most common ways to bet basketball are the point spread, totals, and money lines. The point spread, as in other sports, are established by the handicappers. The spread, as it's more commonly known, gives points to be added to the underdog's final score. Take a game where the Knicks are favored against the Celtics and the spread is 6. So if the Knicks win 196 and you took the Celtics, you win. Because the 96 that the Celtics scored plus the 6 that they get from the spread comes to 102. The second most popular way of betting basketball is totals, more commonly referred to as the over-under. The handicappers will set both the over and under numbers. You add the final score of both teams. To win the over bet, that tabulation has to exceed the over number. To win the under bet, the tabulation has to be less than the under number. The third most popular is the money lines wager. This is basically betting on which team you think is going to win the game. Now, because many times in basketball the teams are evenly matched, you may have to lay 3-to-1 odds, meaning you may have to wager 300 to win 100. Another way to bet basketball is halftime lines. Simply put, in this wager, we treat the halftime score as if it were a game-ending final score. And that sums up the basic generic betting terms for basketball.
All right, thank you, Angelica, for filing that report for us. By the way, Meadowlark Lemon ain't got nothing on that guy. I mean, that guy was spinning basketballs in a bow tie and no shirt. I never saw the Harlem Globetrotters do that.
The fact that you saw that guy spin the ball is your biggest problem there, Frankie.
Well, I'm easily distracted. I mean, Angelica's beautiful and everything, but there's a butler. Why am I never invited to PA on these shoots? That would be kind of cool to be around for this stuff.
All right, it's time to go out to our very own Deb Whitkus, who's with the Atlanta Falcons cheerleaders. What the hell's going on out there?
That's right. I am here in Atlanta, Georgia at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home to the Atlanta Falcons and the Atlanta Falcons cheerleaders. Now, the Atlanta Falcons cheerleaders are in the middle of their audition process for their 2021 squad. So next week's show, I'm going to be a secret auditioner in their dance prep class. I cannot wait. But they are still accepting applications for their squad. They're looking for well-rounded individuals of all experience levels. So if you guys out there think you have what it takes to be an Atlanta Falcons cheerleader, go to www.atlantafalcons.com/cheerleaders to fill out an application. The deadline is June 11th. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go stretch and work on my splits. I'll see you guys soon. Miss you.
Hi, I'm Wayne LaRoute. Catch me here on Krush House Network.
We have a special guest joining us in the Krush House. You guys probably know him, a huge star manager from the 1920s. His players call him Doc. We like to call him Wally Cobb. He's the manager of the Wilmington Hayseeds. How you doing today, Wally?
I'm doing fantastic, gentlemen. It is wonderful to be speaking with such a distinguished group of young men.
Now, listen, I noticed your name, your last name's Cobb. I got to assume you're related to the great Ty Cobb. I mean, he's just an amazing player.
Well, here we go. All right. Can I stand on my own merits for one day? All right, let me tell you a little bit of something about Ty Cobb. All right? Everyone wants to run their gums and say he's the greatest player, but guess what? I was the one who invented sliding.
Well, let me ask you this. I've waited a long time to meet somebody related to or played with or managed Ty Cobb. Was he as big a prick as everybody has said over the course of these last 80 to 100 years?
Oh, of course. He still owes me $75. Are you kidding me?
Hey, listen, Doc, I would really know what would $75 100 years ago to now with the interest rate, what would that be for you right now?
Yeah, I'd have a nice weekend, go to the red light district of Wilmington and, see if I can secure some opium and just have a fun time.
Was that your regiment to get in shape, Doc? Come on now. Let us know. Back then to now.
I'm glad you mentioned. I had a very strict regiment for my players, all right? 13 hours of sleep, no stretching. That's how you bust your leg, all right? No stretching, all right? I wake them up with a slap on the face and a shot of whiskey. You get out on the field, and I encourage them to have sex before every game. It was mandatory.
Drink, gamble, and have sex, Doc? I mean, that's a great how'd you guys ever lose? But speaking of which, you mentioned gambling. Do we give Shoeless Joe the credit he deserves, and did he get a raw deal through all the Black Sox scandal?
Oh my God! He was a scapegoat. All right, everyone was doing it every game. I'm telling you right now, if there was a Hall of Fame around back then, I wouldn't want to be a part of it.
No, you're quoted in a lot of movies. Which one is the one-liner like lollygaggers, or if you build it, he will come? What's your most famous line that you have, Doc?
That's a beautiful question. Let me tell you, the line, "There's no crying in baseball," I was the first one to say that, okay? And let me tell you, because I was actually very ahead of my time. I was the first player to allow Latvians in the league. All right, I was the first one to have a Latvian player on my team. And his name was Janislav Porzingis, no relation. And I was the first one to have him on the team. And he was up on the mound, all right? And he got shot in the leg by his bookie. He walked out onto the mound, shot him in the leg. And I said, there's no crying in baseball. He pitched 3 more innings, and we lost badly.
Are you for the post-game handshake if you lose a game?
No, in my day, you were expected to spit in their eye.
The Rick Mahorn favorite. There you go, Rick. You love Doc. Rick, you love that post game.
I want you to play now. Come on, Doc. Can't manage. We need better managers, better coaches like you.
I'm going to end up talking like Wally Cobb all weekend now. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at the gams on that girl. I call them getaway sticks. Anyway, it's time for us to go. Thank you to Wally Cobb for joining us. And as always, the regular Krush House crew, the lovely Angelica Bridges, thanks for that help with the gambling terms for basketball. Deb Whitkus, who's filing a piece with the Atlanta Falcons cheerleaders we're going to see next week. As always, Rick Mahorn, the baddest bad boy of them all. He will be back talking NBA playoffs next week. Doug Gottlieb, who gave us some of the best analogies and insight to basketball. And Sean Salisbury, whose son cooks for the Suns. Go Phoenix, right, Sean?
Amen. Let's keep this good cooking and good winning going. I love it. Suns will go all the way in the West.
I'm Frank Nicotero. We'll see you next time on Krush House. Let's all shake hands, boys. Yeah, we gave our best out there. We gave them the 1, the 2, the 3.
When I say nobody should be a good loser, nobody should be a good loser.
Thank you for kicking my ass. Have a good, next round.
Yeah, but Rick, you know this. Under the current structure, that's kind of the you're supposed to, right?
Sean, Frank, and Doug.
Yes.
Sean, you're soft. That's what it is.
Fuck
You
outta
don't
here.
have to be a marshmallow. That's bullshit. I ain't shake. You whooped my ass. What else do I need to hear? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, LeBron.
Didn't I just say that?
Take your hand.
You're under the current rules.
Shake your hands. There's no current like time.
His hand.
So
Yes.
Coach K's retiring.
There you go. All right, now that we got all our off-the-air stuff off, thanks. That was fun banter.
Who says this is
Now we can
off
back
air?
to the
Who
show.
says this
Sorry.
is off air? This is gold.